Have you ever looked around your life, your job, your habits, your relationships, and thought, this can't be it? That quiet frustration, that restlessness you can't shake, it's not a breakdown, it's your breakthrough trying to get out. You're not stuck, you're just being called to evolve. And if you're here right now, it's because deep down, you know it too. Most people spend their entire lives waiting. They wait for a sign, they wait for the right time, they wait until they're more confident, more prepared, more supported. But here's the truth, the perfect moment doesn't exist. What exists is this moment, right here, right now. And if these words are finding you today, it's because something inside you is already changing. It might feel like confusion, it might feel like doubt, but in reality, it's a shift. You're not here by accident. You're here because you're ready, even if you don't feel like it yet. I once had a friend named Daniel. He had the dream job, big salary, and a corner office. But every Monday, he'd sit in his car for 15 minutes before walking into the building, not because he was busy, but because something didn't feel right anymore. He wasn't miserable, but he wasn't alive either. That silence before work, that was his soul whispering, there's more for you than this. And that's what readiness really feels like. It doesn't scream. It shows up as restlessness, as a subtle ache in a life that once felt okay, as discomfort in places that used to feel safe. You might not have the plan yet, you might not even know the next step, but you know one thing for sure. You can't keep living like this. There was a time when you waited for approval from your parents, your boss, your partner, society. You wanted someone to say, yes, you're allowed to leave, yes, you can start over, yes, you're enough. But lately, you've started to care a little less about their voices and a little more about your own. That's not rebellion, that's growth. Jen, a single mother of two, spent 5 years telling herself she couldn't start the business she dreamed of. She was always one step away from more time, more savings, more confidence. Then one day her youngest son asked, "Mommy, do you like your job?" She paused, smiled, lied. That night she cried on the bathroom floor, not because of the question, but because of the answer. The next week she signed up for a weekend course. 2 years later she runs her own online brand and she's never looked back. Because the pain of staying the same finally outweighed the fear of changing. And yes, change is scary. It always has been, but eventually it becomes even scarier to live a life that doesn't fit you anymore. You stop trying to avoid discomfort, and you start asking better questions. Not, how do I keep this life tolerable? But what would life look like if I finally chose myself? Malcolm was a senior executive. From the outside, he had it all, title, recognition, lifestyle, but every night he'd go home and pour himself 2 glasses of wine just to unwind. He didn't hate his job, but he hated who he was becoming. When his doctor warned him about stress-induced burnout, Malcolm made a choice, not just to quit, but to reinvent. Now, he runs workshops teaching other burnt-out professionals how to reclaim their lives before it's too late. And these are not just stories, they're proof that the moment you feel done with your old life is the moment you begin shaping a new one. Because readiness doesn't always arrive with confidence. Sometimes it shows up as tension, as tears, as a whisper that says enough. You used to think you needed more time, more clarity, more support, but what you really needed was to stop waiting. Because you are the sign, you are the permission, you are the moment. You don't have to have it all figured out, you just have to begin. You don't need to feel fearless, you just need to decide. So start building, start healing, start letting go of who you were and step into who you truly are. Because you're not stuck, you're just finally ready. If this message found you today, it's because something inside you already knew. So tell me in the comments, what part of you are you finally ready to choose?